Heidi Dulabon, and do I have a tale for you? There is smuggling, there's intrigue, there's high seas adventures, a little seduction and success, and it all has to do with how one little coffee plant helps span coffee around the world to your cup of joe today. Okay, so great story. Coffee was grown in Yemen for centuries. It was controlled by the Ottomans for a long time, and they had a absolutely no coffee ever leaves Yemen through the port of Mocha at all. It's punishable by death. Well, however, a Dutchman sailing with the Dutch East India Company, which traded coffee through the port of Mocha around the world, we're talking 1616, well, a brave Dutchman smuggled out successfully some green coffee cherries, got them back to the Netherlands. Well, they're not going to grow there very well, but the Netherlands had colonies in Indonesia, and it grew great in Java. Coffee was all the rage, and the Dutch really had a lot of power with this coffee. So what did they do? Well, now we're talking the mayor of Amsterdam is going to visit Louis XIV at Versailles. Yes, Louis XIV, the Sun King. If you follow the channel, you know I'm crazy about him. So Louis XIV receives this coffee plant, and it becomes known as the plant. And Louis XIV has a very special greenhouse built just for this coffee plant, and it's revered, the plant. Well, Louis XIV dies, Louis XV comes in, and he is super crazy about coffee, and he makes his medical doctor in charge of the greenhouse. There are other plants in there. He said there could be some medicinal things in there, so doctor, you are in charge of this greenhouse, and you watch that coffee plant. Well, I want to now enter our story about this young, handsome, suave, debonair captain in the French Navy, our new favorite friend. May I introduce Captain Matal Gabriel Declue. And he is something else. He has a way with the ladies. Well, our Captain Declue, he is in Martinique. He is stationed there, one of the French colonies, and he starts hearing about this thing, coffee, and it's starting to be spread around the world a little bit. And he says, I've got to get my hands on some of this coffee because I'm ambitious, and I know this coffee would grow so well in Martinique, and it could just make my whole career. And so he says, well, what I've got to do is I've got to get a cutting from that plant, the plant in Versailles. So he hops on the next ship, boom, back to France, and he thinks, okay, I'm going to have a middle of the night break into the greenhouse, steal a branch from the plant, hightail it back to Martinique, and be the big hero. Well, he tries sneaking in, breaking into the greenhouse. Nothing works. Luckily, he is not caught. So, okay, deep breaths. What am I going to do? He says, our Captain Declue. He said, that good doctor. Well, there's a little more to him. He has a girlfriend, and you know how I am with the ladies. I'm going to meet this girlfriend and see if she can do my dirty work. So our handsome Captain Declue meets this mistress of the doctor, and he works his wily ways, and he convinces her to tell the doctor, I need a cutting off that coffee plant. Well, by golly, the doctor does it. And so she gets the cutting, gives it to our Captain Declue, who, guess what, books a next voyage right back to Martinique. He's a passenger. He gets his coffee plant, and he's holding that for dear life because it's everything. His whole world is in this one plant. It is the thing that's going to make him. It's going to make his career. They'll forget about the seduction part. So he's sailing, but guess what? There's other passengers on the ship. And some of them, they're wondering, who is this guy and what's he doing hugging this plant all day? And then, and we only get so much ration. There's only so much fresh water. Well, our captain, he is having a sip, giving the plant a sip. Sip for me, sip for the plant. And so one of the passengers happens to be Dutch. Well, he said, I'm Dutch. We know about coffee. That's a coffee plant. Heck, that's worth money. So guess what? The Dutchman, he breaks in, and what a thief. He breaks off a branch of the coffee plant. Oh, And our Captain Declue is so upset, and he's chasing, trying to get the guy, and the ship sails into port, and guess what? The thief is off. He's gone and off. And so it's okay. The coffee plant's going to survive. It's going to make it. And so our Captain Declue, he's really hugging this coffee plant now. Nobody comes near it. And then now they're sailing. They're off about the coast of northern Africa. And guess what happens? Pirates come sailing it, and they're trying to board the ship, but luckily the captain of our Captain Declue's ship is one heck of a sailor, and he's sailing, and it's back and forth with these pirates, and the captain of this merchant ship, he outsails the pirates, and whew, okay, narrow escape. The pirates had boarded that ship, the coffee plant would have been gone for sure. Okay, so the Captain Declue, deep breaths. Okay, so they're sailing along. He says, just get me back to Martinique already. Well, they're sailing along, and then guess what happens? A hurricane out in the middle of the ocean. A hurricane comes, and it's a doozy. And the ship is rocked. It's rolled. There's water everywhere, and he's holding onto that plant. He's holding on, and finally, calm seas. And they start looking around, and everything's wet, and they start taking inventory. The plant is okay. Thank goodness the plant is okay, but the fresh water is about gone. Okay, no fresh water. It's hardly any, so the rations just got rationed down to almost nothing. So our Captain Declue, he has a little tiny sip, and then a sip for the plant. A little tiny sip, a sip for the plant. And then what happens? The sun comes out, and it won't rain again, and he's thinking, how much longer can we survive, the plant and I? Well, luckily he was just days from Martinique, and they finally get to Martinique. Oh, yay. And our Captain Declue, he gets off with his coffee plant, and he plants it, and it's starting to grow. But guess what? They're thieves in Martinique. They know, they've heard about this coffee thing. So he has to build a fence of thorny bushes and hires guards to watch it. But guess what? That plant grows. That plant just doesn't grow, it thrives. And within 1 decade, in 10 years, Martinique is exporting coffee back to France. Yes, our handsome Captain Declue, he is a hero. There are songs written about him. There are poems written about him, and he keeps advancing in his career and all kinds of great promotions. And he lives a long, successful, happy life, and he dies back in Paris, a very happy, successful man after a very long life. And his one little coffee plant from Martinique, it spread coffee throughout the Caribbean, into Central America, and even down into parts of South America, and even parts of Brazil, the largest coffee growing country for the last 150 years by far. However, there was a Portuguese sailor that really got coffee to Brazil, and if you want that incredible story, drop me a comment. So it's all fun, and next time you're having your cup of joe, you just think about our Captain Declue and all he went through to save that one coffee plant. And he got it, and it helped span coffee around the world. So here's to you, Captain Declue, and here's to you. Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and drop me a comment. Thank you. And as I always say, please be kind. Thank you.